Kid knows something's up when we ain't there to give a warm welcome. See, Zulf and I were just wrapping up a heated discussion. Zulf can barely muster the words. The calamity failed, he says, but I will not. And with that, Zulf leaves us here, alone. Zulf cursed the city, cursed the Bastion, cursed me, said he was going home. When Zulf got through reading that journal, he just snapped, started smashing up the monument till I tried to stop him. Points just don't get any sharper than that. You want to tune a scrap musket, you start with the barrel. The marshals learn to pack those shells full of fire. Anything survives a musket shot ought to be quick work for that blade. Zulf banged up the monument pretty bad. But there's a way to put her back together. The shards. We're gonna need all of them to nurse the Bastion back to health. The city brought the shards to the wilds. Now the kid's gonna bring them back. Slinger Range is where the city's quickest pistoliers put themselves to the test. You have to think fast to survive the wilds, and none thought faster than the Slingers. They could shoot their pistols with the speed of a machine. They knew just when to start shooting and when to stop. Those pistols could spit out rounds just as quick as you could pull the trigger. Learning to hold your fire can be its own challenge. The Slingers were much quicker than the average pistolier. The Slingers could plug you full of holes faster than you could say draw. Well, even the slingers weren't quick enough to escape the calamity. The less said about Drawson Bog, the better. That place will eat your mind. After Zulf's little episode, Kid sets off in search of shards. First stop, Drawson Bog. You'll get lost in that bog, I told the kid, and I won't be able to guide you back. Well, I let him go. What else could I do? What could any of us do? Zulf put us in a real bind. Hurt the Bastion bad. But the shards can make it better. They're like smaller doses of the core's medicine. Shame the only place to fill that prescription is out here in the wilds. This place is intoxicating. Don't know where he's gone. Might be gone for good for all I know. Wherever he is, somewhere I've never been. Somewhere I never want to go. There's no way out. The dead welcome him with open arms. Kid pops him good. That a survivor? No, ma'am. It's a lonesome ghost of a gas fella. What do you say to a kid who's seen too much? I'm Zulf of Embora. Pleased to make your acquaintance. Now the kid sees something stranger still. Did anybody else survive? Sure enough, he finds peckers, lunkheads, wallflowers, pincushions, vine apples, swamp weeds, ankle gators. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. Kid sets foot inside one of Ceylondia's famous watering holes. The security's just gonna have to straighten him out. always succeeds where the calamity failed. Would you look at what he did to poor old Ronnie the bartender? Proper story's supposed to start at the beginning. It's so simple with this one. Now here's a kid whose whole world's alright, snoozing there on a rock in the sky. He wakes up. I'm just fooling. He sees what's left of the rippling walls. Years of work undone in an instant. He sees what's left of Pith, the bull. The gods, they're all undone. He sees what's left of his lifelong friend. His friend, he's come undone too. He sees what's left undone. Thought we'd lost him, but he finally comes to. The shard ain't lost either. Not anymore. Now to find a ticket out of this hole. Bootlickers dig their nasty thorns into his heels. Disgusting things. Ever heard of a lung blossom? It's bigger than the stories say. Hard to get a sure footing in the bog. The breath on that thing. Like a scumbag sprung a leak. They say one whiff of lung blossom can make you lose your mind. Well, the kid prunes it down to size somehow. Mother only knows what happened in the bog. Kid never much cared to speak of it. A shard is like a poor man's core, but beggars can't be choosers. Never could ask for a song. That's it. A few more shards like that, and we'll be back in business. A single shard can breathe new life into this place. The shard's got enough juice to spruce up any of these places. Stay absinthe is like drinking a cool breeze. Just don't go spitting needles everywhere. The city tried to use the shards to stake out the wilds. So much for that plan. Rothless Lagoon, even the brushers stopped going there. Didn't like being eaten. Ankle gators used to roam the wilds, and they nested at Rothless Lagoon. Many a tale folks used to scare their children straight originated here. All kinds of beasts what don't know up from down, still lurking about. Even the brushers learned to fear this place. They used to think that ankle gators were extinct. Well, they ain't. One of them's been living in the tall grass. They called her Queen Anne. The lagoon's got plenty of other dangers, of course. Turns out Queen Anne got a hold of a shard. Ankle gators love shiny things. Know what smells worse than an ankle gator's breath? The stinkweed. Can't fight Queen Anne without the proper tools. The brushers use their pikes to keep their distance around here. Now the kid can do the same. Sharp sticks make Queen Anne nervous, so she backs off a bit. Pincushion's been living off the ankle gator's scraps. Queen Anne can't fit down some of these narrow paths. Kid's got a mean throwing arm. Queenie leads the kid into some kind of twisted trap. One bad step in that tall grass and he's Queen Anne's lunch. He holds his ground. Seems the Queen's running out of options. The closer you get to an ankle gator's lair, the thicker the tall grass grows. Kid's gotta make a run for it. That old gator's right on his tail. Queen's got one mean bite. Queenie must have scared a bunch of peckers out of hiding. Seems even stinkweeds know to stay away from the Queen. Ankle gators don't much care for their young. That's why there ain't many around. Wanna know how to find an ankle gator lair? You use a kid as bait. Now she's coming for him. She's got nowhere else to go. The shard's sitting in plain view. They say if you run across an ankle gator, you better keep running. He's got it, and now to finish her off. She's starting to get annoyed. Can't get hasty in a place like this. And now he's made her mad. Rest in peace, Queen Anne. That was for the brushers. Kid's done what needed to be done. Queen Anne's reign is over. We even got a crown jewel. Still no mail. Go figure. That Gator's a crazy gal, but so is the gal who promised to look after her. They said Queen Anne was just a folktale. Now there's living proof she ain't. To fix a brusher's pike, you just need a good length of knife bark. All that trouble for a single shard, but you know what? It was worth it. The Bastion ain't gonna build itself. Well, not entirely. Ain't saying much, but that's the greatest forge in all the city. The next shard should be farther out there in the wilds. Over there's Camp Dauncey, where the brushers steeled themselves for secret missions. To prepare for the wilds, Ceylandia's brushers practice at Camp Dauncey. Had to navigate a maze of pincushions with nothing but a pike. It's a dangerous test for a dangerous job. Sometimes the course was brutal. Health tonics were off limits at Camp Dauncey. They said they made you weak. The rules said he couldn't use any fancy footwork, just your brains and your pike. Did all right at Camp Dauncey. You got to go to the wilds. You can see why the brushers prize those pikes of theirs. Point Lemaine's Grand Rail once brought the riches of the wild right to our doorstep. Know how Ceylandia became the richest city in the world? 2 words. Point Lemaine. If the wilds could ever be tamed, it was gonna happen right here. But now, the greatest outpost past the city line is nothing but a freak show. The Army's triggers once had the place on lockdown. kid might as well pick up where they left off. Blam! Just like my fighting days. A gun like that can even put the wilds in check. Point Lemaine seen better days for sure, but it ain't done. Whole place shudders in a fit. The grand rail of Point Lemaine, not only is it still there, it still works. Of course, it's no longer shipping hides and alloys and spices, but it can give the kid a lift. Just as long as he can stay clear of the trouble on the tracks. Grand rails all grown over with things of calamity chewed up and spat out. Things eager to take back their turf. Kid lets a few of them slip by. Lunkheads settled in like they own the place. Not much wiggle room up there near the rail. Takes fancy footwork on the rail, what with wallflowers coughing fungus everywhere. Of course, the Grand Rails seen much more fighting in bygone times. Near on 50 years ago, first shots fired in the Ura-Celandian War. Place used to be closed off, but now it's split open like a rotten pineapple. was right here that Zulf's forefathers decided to mix it up. Okay, so maybe we didn't get their sign-off on the whole Grand Rail thing. That was bad. The rail must have shook the Ura to the bone down in those dens of theirs. Well, the rail won't last much longer now that the kid took the shard. It's still got one good run in store for him. All the rotten wood there on the rails turned it into Swampweed Central. Ever tried dancing side to side while holding your breath? Choking on swampweed while peggers trying to prick you in the eye. Well, let me tell you, it ain't fun. Then, at last, it's the end of the line. He'll be picking swampweed out of those boots for days. Turns out he's got company up at the rail station, waiting for him. Not just another wallflower or pincushion, mind you. At first he thinks it's Zulf. Turns out he's wrong. This is for you, says the man. Then wham! When the kid comes to, the man's long gone, but something else is there. The only words the kid recognizes on that parchment are for Zia. Well, what's the kid to do? He took the shard, he took the hit, and he took that note. That note cuts straight to the heart of things, don't it?